Hello, my name is Jonathan Brush. I'm President and CEO of Unbound, but most importantly for this video, I'm also the father of 7 children, and 2 of whom have either been in Ascend or are currently in the Ascend program. And I want to address this to you, the parent of a potential Ascend student, and I want to talk to you about some things I've experienced over the last several weeks and also answer some questions my admissions counselors tell me they hear a lot on the phone. So in the last several weeks, since the end of April, I've been in 20 states. I've been all over the country, and I recognize 2 things. I recognize that you have a lot of questions about Ascend, and I also recognize that we live in some economic uncertainty, and I want to address both. When I talked to my admissions counselors, I said, hey, what are some of the things people are asking? And they said they break down into 2 big questions. The first is this community really as good as you say it is, and why do you spend so much time talking about it? And secondly, is my kid going to be a bum if they graduate from this program? Which is just, I think, a fancy way of saying, does this program really work? And so let me give you a parental perspective on both of those. So first, when it comes to this community, yes, this is an online program with one of the most outstanding and amazing communities of anything I've ever experienced in my entire professional and personal career. If you join Ascend, your students will gain a national network of students with a network effect that is at least as strong as the military academies. So if they had graduated from Annapolis or West Point or something like that. I don't say that lightly. That's a claim that I'm really serious about backing up. And let me share 2 personal stories with you that just kind of illustrate this. The first is from my son, who was an Ascend student and did a backpacking trip around the country last year with a friend of his who we met through Ascend. Left Virginia, went up through the Dakotas, out through Washington State, down through California, and back home through Colorado. And that entire time when he wasn't on a backcountry permit in a national park, they stayed with Ascend students. So no hotel, a national network of friends and associates across the country who they were able to stay with and who made the trip very memorable, but who also helped. When their car broke down in the middle of nowhere, they called an Ascend student whom they had never met before, who they knew lived in that area, who provided them with the means, the support, and the ability to get the car repaired and their trip back on track, and offered to help them if they needed help at any other point as they were moving around the country. And that's a pretty typical story. The other is much more recent. Last night, I was on the phone with my daughter, who was traveling home and got stranded in LaGuardia Airport. All her flights were canceled, and the airlines weren't going to provide any hotel rooms. I called an Ascend student who I knew in the area. He lives in Queens. He arranged for my daughter to stay with his pastor and his family, went and picked her up and made sure that she was safely transported from LaGuardia to his pastor's house, got up at like 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock this morning and made sure that she was safely transported back to LaGuardia, and she's currently, as I record this, on a flight back home to our house. That's the kind of network that I see in play every single day with our Ascend community. This is going to be a community and a network that will not just benefit your student while they're in the program, but will literally benefit them for life. Secondly, people ask me, this is going to be successful. Will my student actually have an education that works? I could illustrate that in so many ways. I could tell you stories again and again of students who have been successful, about Daniel Craig, who graduated from the program and started a business that now hires a lot of our graduates, of Riley Moss, who works as an accountant and also part-time as a drama teacher for a local Christian high school, who has an enormous impact on our community as well as quite a successful career, of Sarah Shaw, who is financing her master's program in counseling with her graphic design work that she does, of John Skomsky, who is a phenomenally successful financial planner and is moving into an additional career in public speaking and leadership. I could go on and on with those stories, but there comes a point where it's one thing to tell stories. That's what any good marketing department does. And it's another to back those stories up. And so I'm quite serious as a parent about backing those up. And that means that Ascend comes with an employment guarantee. If your son or daughter goes through our entire program and earns our final certificate, then we guarantee that they will get employed and have a job commensurate with that kind of experience, or we will refund the tuition. And this is not some sort of thing with a bunch of fine print and gotchas in it. This is a promise and a guarantee that we publish. We'll be happy to send it to you in writing. But the bottom line here is that I'm so certain of the quality of our program that if you find that it was lacking and your son and daughter isn't able to be successful because of their education experience, then at the very least, you will find out that you don't owe us anything for that experience, and we'll refund all of it. Finally, I realize that these are uncertain economic times. I certainly feel them as well. And so once again, it's one thing for me to say, hey, the best hedge against uncertainty is a great network, a program that gives your son or daughter skills they can really use in life, and an education that comes without debt. We can do all those things, but how do we transfer some of that risk from you to us? And so let me make you another promise. If your son or daughter enrolls in Ascend this summer, and you have an unforeseen economic difficulty, or if you find that you just don't like the program for whatever reason, I will absolutely promise in writing, once again, that we will refund everything you paid to the program for the time you enroll through Christmas of this year. Basically, I'm saying that we'll give you a trial period for Ascend, beginning from enrollment through Christmas. I hope which gives you time to weather some of these economic uncertainties, but ultimately make sure that you have a chance to check it out and see that we can do all the things that we said that we do, that we can back up what we've been telling you. I hope that that gives you some hedge against the uncertainties of the times that we live in. I hope it gives you some reassurance, and I hope it gives you a parental perspective. As somebody who has students in the program, I'm serious about not just making sure Unbound and Ascend is the best that we can be, but that we communicate that well to you in a way that allows you to make the best decision for your son or daughter's educational experience and educational future. With that in mind, if you have any questions, certainly contact our admissions team, and they'll be delighted to transfer you directly to me. I'll be happy to talk to any of you directly and answer any questions or concerns that you have. I'm very much looking forward to the possibility of welcoming your son or daughter into Ascend and meeting them at Apex in Michigan for our national conference at the end of August. Thanks.